This is Daniel Hutchins, and today we are going to be talking about something different today. So today we're going to be talking about Shrek 5. So, 5 characters we hope will make a return, and 5 which won't. Okay, so this is an old article from 2020. So again, sorry about this. But again, this is very weird information that I just decided, oh, let's share it today, because why not? Okay, so Shrek 5, 5 characters we hope make a return, and 5 we won't. Okay, so while the details regarding Shrek 5 remain few and far between, fans know which characters they'd love to see again, and which they don't. The actual plot and specific details regarding a Shrek reboot remain a mystery to audiences awaiting news regarding the beloved franchise next film, but rumors have entertained everything from the idea that the film isn't happening at all, but will focus on Shrek's family, and it will completely reform the Shrek universe. Related to this article is Shrek 5 jokes that are timeless classics and 5 that were horrible. But we're not talking about that, we're talking about something else. So while fans don't know anything solid just yet, they're just speculating about which characters might return and which ones have really run their course in the franchise. With a 5th movie on the horizon, any return characters in the project must be compelling enough to move the story forward. Coming up on number 10, we have Fiona. Of course, she's returning. The entire series is named after a grumpy, smelly ogre, but what about the love of his life, Fiona? Well, she should obviously be by his side. And after witnessing her kick butt and take names after her assistance in Shrek Forever After, it's clearer than ever that she should have more adventures of her own. The only thing, though, Cameron Diaz, who voices the awesome princess, has retired from acting. So how will she re-emerge in an offered project? Will Fiona remain in the series with a new voice? Perhaps Diaz will return this one time, especially since voice actors have more wiggle room. Next, we have number 9, Rumpelstiltskin. And of course, he is not returning. He is not returning. So after his big defeat a decade ago, there's no reason for Rumpelstiltskin to return. Shrek's well aware that he's not to be trusted, which was the ogre's downfall in the 4th film. According to Donkey's Christmas Spectacular, the villain is still very much alive and imprisoned in the swamp, so his return shouldn't be ruled out. But the franchise is in dire need of a new kind of conflict after the same hero-villain setup is used in each film. DreamWorks would do well to take a page out of Disney's book with recent films like Moana and Frozen 2, in which the conflict is more complicated and interesting. They've already done this successfully with films like The Croods, so it makes sense to apply the tactic to Shrek 5. Number 8, The Kids. They are returning. So as enjoyable as Shrek Forever After was, it did the same thing too many TV shows and films do when it comes to family. It made the assumption that having one was too dull. To make it an adventure itself, Shrek had kids. Instead of working out his troubles with his wife and partner, he became a petulant child himself who could only have adventures and learn to be a better partner without said children around. Related to this article is Shrek, the 10 greatest characters and their best quote. But we're not talking about that, we're talking about something else. So the kids could have added incredible interest and humor to the franchise. Instead, as hidden as in Scared Shrek list, the film should give the kids a much more prominent role in which audiences get to know him. Now coming up at number 7 is Merlin and Arfor, and they are not returning. Shrek 3 is easily the worst of the Shrek films. Despite some fun scenes featuring Fiona and the princesses, it features Shrek at his weakest as well as 2 of the most boring characters added to the series, Merlin and Arfor. Merlin is a goofy old wizard who chews on rocks. Arfor does nothing but complain and is incredibly annoying. Even when he saves the day, we're supposed to care for him when he's bullied, but he's so whiny that he makes it difficult. We'll probably have trouble wooing Farfar away, especially if he's anything like the real King Arthur, and one of Fiona and Shrek's kids may need to take on the job someday. That's crazy. But now we come on number 6, the Resistance Ogres. They are returning. It made no sense for the ogres of Fiona's resistance to be included at the end of Shrek Forever After, since Shrek should have returned to the original point in time, where he signed away a day of his life. But these characters are too interesting to cut all together. Even aside from the talented voices like Jane Lynch and Craig Robinson and other characters, but proved that there are many other ogres around who should show up in the series at some point. It's weird that they don't run into any of the many around, but granted, ogres like their privacy, but it would make sense for Shrek to have some family for Fiona to meet this time around. Next at number 5, we have Charmin and Fairy Godmother. They are not returning. So Fairy Godmother was the best villain in the Shrek franchise, blending pop culture, fairy tale, plastic surgery, and passive aggressiveness to the extreme together to create one exceptionally evil character. That's why she absolutely cannot make a comeback. She would completely steal the show, and beating her would be the next to impossible if somehow managed to restore her former powers. The same goes for Charmin, who was destroyed in Shrek 3 and returned later in some of Shrek's shorts, but he is the opposite of his mother and too boring of a character to further the film's future. Next we have number 4, Donkey. He's returning. Who would Shrek be without his original sidekick, Donkey? Ever since the beast of burden followed Shrek to his swamp in the first film, they've been an inseparable pair. Whether Shrek wanted him to be there or not, he's always been there to help his best friend. But now he has a family of his own to worry about. This could still work in favor of the film, too. So related to this article is 5 reasons Shrek 2 is the best DreamWorks sequel and 5 why it's Kung Fu Panda 2. But we're not talking about that, we're talking about something else. So if the kids remain young in the next Shrek film, playdates with Donkey and Dragon's kids make sense. If the kids are older, he may not be needed for a plot, but he could retain a smaller role as a fan favorite. Now for number 3, Puss in Boots. He is not returning. Now this really shocked me because I know a lot of people who love Puss in Boots. But Puss in Boots was an adorable kitty with big eyes who created wonderful tension between himself and Donkey as Shrek's number 1 sidekick and BFF. Since then, the joke has pretty much dissipated, and Puss has enjoyed many adventures of his own, enough to warrant his own film and series. It might make sense for Puss to have a small cameo in a scene, and fans love him, but given his adventurous spirit, keeping him in one place doesn't seem fair to a character, swamp or palace. But plus, if the series is going to expand enough to give Shrek and Fiona's brood enough room to grow, some tough cuts will need to be made. Now that was kind of crazy. So now at number 2, we have Pinocchio, Gingy, and the gang. And they are returning. So after witnessing the heroin consumption and demise of Gingy and Shrek Forever After, by none other than Puss himself, fans need to see the cute little cookie alive and well again. Beyond that, it just makes sense to have the ragtag team of background characters pop up again after they had small roles in each movie. Pinocchio, Wolfie, the pigs, the Gingy, all serve as fantastic comic relief without stealing the show, and none of them really have any gumption to pursue their own adventures like Puss. Their inclusion coupled with more pop culture references, which will help flesh out the film. And now on number 1, Lillian. And she is not returning. So as beloved as Julie Andrews was, her character Queen Lillian hasn't had much to do in a series in a while. It doesn't make a lot of sense to have her in another movie, save for all a small cameo appearance if necessary. The only way a larger role for a queen might make sense is if she were training one of Shrek and Fiona's kids to rule over a kingdom, which could actually be an interesting new direction. This would depend entirely on the timeline, but the new movie has not only if the kids are in it, but also how much they've aged since Shrek Forever After. So yeah, there you go guys, that is just a little quick video I want to share with you about Shrek 5 characters we hope make a return and 5 that won't. And again, if you guys like this content, please hit a thumbs up if you like. If you don't, that's okay, and you guys have a nice day. Bye.